Family engagement is a lot more than what we've been terming as parent involvement. Family engagement is the whole family, the kids, the grandkids, the step-parents, everyone engaged in learning. Now, when I talk about engagement, again, it's a difference between engagement and involvement. I oftentimes think of my 17-month-old granddaughter. She's a delight. It's really fun. I love being around her, family member that I am, and I can be involved by sitting in my chair and watching her play with her blocks on the floor. That's really cool, and it really, it's great for her because she knows somebody's there, and I can watch TV or be on the phone or whatever, and I'm involved. But when I talk about engagement, I talk about getting on the floor and playing blocks with her, having her on my lap and reading a book, being engaged in what she's doing. It doesn't always have to be an academic learning thing, but just engagement, because that connects you and the child. When you connect the learning that goes on for a child with the engagement part of it, it just solidifies everything. What I do is try and work with schools to work together with families in order to engage in the learning process. I teach family engagement on a regular basis, and I do it from a variety of standpoints, but mostly what we do is we work with groups out of schools. We take a group of parents, of administrators, of teachers, and of support staff, and we develop a team, and that team then develops projects that they can work on together. And through that project development, they build trust, they build relationships, they build the ability to then go on and say, okay, if we can do this around fixing a drinking fountain or fixing something in the parking lot, can we also do that around reading? Can we do it around math? Can we do it around stuff now that we trust each other, that we can actually support learning for children? And that's what we're all about. That's how we train family engagement in learning. We train all over the country. We train in school districts. We talk to school districts about where they are with their family engagement policies and what they're doing and practices that they have. And then we'll develop with the school district teams from each of their schools. And I say around the country, we're beginning to not only talk about around the country, but around the world. We've got folks from Australia and other places calling and saying, how are you doing this? What do we do in order to get families engaged? Because we know it works. If you look at the research, there's a whole lot of research out there. We've got 3 or 4 researchers that have been doing this for years. And we know that grades improve, that behavior improves, that attendance improves. All of those things happen when families are engaged with their children. And so that's what we do. We try to get those teams from those schools, including parents, to actually work together to build relationships so that they can help their children. Priorities in the schools right now are really around financial priorities because they're concerned about that. And it's also around test scores and meeting standards and all of those kinds of things. Those are wonderful priorities. And so a lot of times other priorities, other things that are really important get shoved down off the desk. This is one that gets lost sometimes. We try to make sure that people remember it by saying, look, the research shows how this works. There are stories that I tell regularly about successes in schools when this happens. And it shows the results of better test scores, better attendance, better all the way, better going to college rates, less dropout. It does all of that. So we just keep reminding them of that, number one. Number two, when we do a training with our folks, we coach. We spend the next 6 months after we've done a training coaching them and reminding them, you said you were going to do this. This is the project you're working on. How you doing? What's the next step you're going to take? So that it doesn't get shoved to the bottom of the desk one more time, because we know that it works. We start the engagement process wherever a school, a community is. In some cases, we've got schools that are saying, we're doing this, now we just need more. Show us how to do more. We start there. We have some that have said, we've never had parents come and join us and get involved, get engaged. we don't know where to start. So what I've developed is a system to walk people through it. It's called PTAG, Parent Teacher A to G, and it's in the book called Parent Connections. And we take them through a series that says, you start with attitude. You work on folks' attitude, how they feel about this situation. You build capacity. You build capacity of the staff, and you build capacity of the parents to work together. The next step is a collaboration, that's C. That's a trust building. You collaborate around a project. Then you go to D and you develop a plan that will ultimately help parents support their children in learning. You evaluate it, you make sure it's going on target the way you want it to, you follow through, and the last step is go for grade. And they're creating, not just we, those teams are creating great schools and great engagement for families. I talked about research a couple of times. The research is showing, and has for the last 30 years, that it improves test scores, it improves grades, it improves attendance, the behavior is better, the social interaction skills for children are better, and kids go on to college more if families are engaged. I keep looking at it and saying, we've got to ensure this nationally and on the state level and in the local school district and in the local school. It starts at the local school. It starts there. But it is a national issue because the more we engage our families in their children's activities and their learning, the safer they're going to be, the better they're going to be, and they're going to be the ones that lead our world next. So we definitely want them totally comfortable about doing that.